I'm flying over the police station, yeah.
Is there any particular reason?
Yeah, I'm just having a little look. Is that a lunch? Is that like a canteen at top, around back on side? I'm just having a little look, getting some kind of zoomed in shots to see what there is to see, really. Just having a bit of a nosy, if you know what I mean.
Why though? Any reason for it?
Nah, just for me, personal reason. Don't work for any business or like that, don't we? Yeah.
What's your personal interest with what goes on inside a police station?
Well, it's not my own personal interest, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people.
You said your personal. It's for you. It's personal for you. Well, you've obviously zoomed in well enough to see that there's tables and chairs and asked if there's a canteen. So
no, I never said that, did I? No, I didn't say that, did I? I never said that, did I? No, I said, is that a canteen? I never said I'd zoomed in on the canteen, did I?
You said you got some zoomed in images, yeah, and then asked.
No, I am zooming in on the police station just to have a look at it. It's nothing.
For what reason? For what reason? That's all we're interested in is why you would be doing that.
Just for my own purposes. I'm just making a little documentary of some of the buildings in the area.
Right.
Yeah. So I thought what I'd do is I'll have a look at the police station, because I came to have a look at this place, Forza, which is it's kind of meat processing place, isn't it? So I'm just having a little look around. I came to have a quick look at Forza, and then I saw the police headquarters. So I thought, right, what I'll do is I'll go down there first, have a quick flyover, get zoomed in on some of the bits the public might want to see that they don't generally get to see.
There's a reason that the public don't get to see that, yeah, because it's the inside of the police station.
If the drone operator was only recording the outside of the building and was not filming inside private or restricted areas, then no law was likely being broken. The officer's concern about zooming in would only become legally relevant if the drone captured footage through windows into places where people have a reasonable expectation of privacy, such as private offices or staff-only rooms. Simply using a zoom lens to film the exterior of a building from public airspace is not a breach of privacy laws, provided no private activities are being recorded. In this case, the auditor simply asked where the canteen was located. That question does not prove he recorded it or filmed any private area. There is no evidence that the drone captured anything beyond what was already visible from a lawful public viewpoint.
I weren't going for any windows or that.
Is it? Right.
No.
Is that reasonable?
No, I think you're talking rubbish. Honestly, I do. Yeah.
Right. There's a reason why there's gates and there's it's card access. There's a reason for that. It's because public are not allowed in there.
Oh, they're not allowed in. I didn't go in.
Right. Well, technically you have, because you've got a camera on that and you've zoomed in. Right?
No, I'm in the airspace above the police station.
That's reasonable, isn't it? Right. That police station is not for public access. Hence why it's so secure. By flying that,
I didn't go in though, so what are you talking to me like that for? Like telling me off like a naughty schoolboy?
I'm saying, you've flown the drone in there.
Yeah, I have.
Obviously zoomed in on the police station. That's not for public access, right?
I have zoomed in on the police station,
There's a reason why it's not for public access, because it's the police station.
Let's make this simple. Zooming in with a camera or drone is not the same as entering private property. You are not trespassing just because you can see something from a lawful location. Under UK law, trespass requires a physical entry onto private land or into a restricted area. A camera lens or drone does not physically cross that boundary. If this officer's argument were correct, every photographer using a telephoto lens would be breaking the law, which is clearly not the case. Photography and video taken from a lawful location are generally protected, and the right to gather information through filming is also supported by freedom of expression principles under Article 10 of the Human Rights Act.
That's a fair enough comment.
It's not, because you're not allowed to walk through the barriers, fair enough.
What makes you think you can put the drone in there and zoom in?
Because I can fly over, it's in the airspace.
If you're flying over it, but you've told me that you've zoomed in on the building.
I've zoomed in on the building, to get some close-up shots.
Why?
Because I wanted to.
Well, it's not for public access, is it?
Well, I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to do that.
It's not for public access, is it? And that's going to arouse our suspicion.
You can say it's not for public access as much as you want, but you're not going to convince me.
You're over it and you're zooming into the police station, so we've come to ask you why.
I know. I've just said I'm literally come here to make a little video about Forza. Saw the police station. Come in to have a look at the police station. They're saying that I'm somebody, and they can't tell because there was no way they can tell what I look like based on them.
That's your opinion.
The auditor hasn't broken any law, caused a disturbance, or operated his drone illegally. So why are the officers comparing his face to a photo on a phone? There is no sign of a crime, no arrest, no caution, and no lawful stop. Instead, it appears they're trying to identify someone simply because they don't like what he's doing. That's not good policing. Officers should base their actions on evidence, not personal suspicion. When the auditor questions what they're doing, the officers respond, "That's your assumption." But that doesn't explain why they were looking back and forth between the phone and his face. If they weren't trying to identify him, a clear explanation would have been easy to give. Instead, they avoid answering the question directly. That response only creates more uncertainty and raises legitimate questions about why they were focusing on someone who was lawfully exercising his rights.
Private conversation, so that's your assumption.
Private conversation in public. Well, I don't know why you're trying to incriminate me.
I've asked you nicely now what your name is.
Yeah.
All right?
Listen to me first.
Personally, I can ask you
Yeah.
to identify yourself.
Listen to me first.
If you want to mess about, we'll look at going under Terrorism Act, okay?
Terrorism Act. Don't be stupid. Listen to it. Like, if you're asking for my details, you've got. I don't believe that I have to give you my details. So you're gonna have to tell me what section of the law you're acting in when you ask me for those.
As I've said, I'll do it under Terrorism Act if I have to.
What? Which act?
Section 60.
Section 60. Terrorism Act.
Yes.
To get my details.
Yes.
Oh my God.
The officer immediately threatens to use terrorism powers, saying, "I'll do it under the Terrorism Act if I have to." Section 60. That statement is legally incorrect. Section 60 is part of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994, not the Terrorism Act. It allows officers to carry out stop and searches for weapons in a designated area where serious violence is anticipated. It has nothing to do with filming, flying a drone, or demanding someone's identity. If the officer actually meant Section 43 of the Terrorism Act 2000, that power can only be used when an officer has reasonable suspicion that a person is involved in terrorism. That suspicion must be based on objective evidence, not simply because someone is filming in public or refuses to provide their name. Refusing to identify yourself is not, by itself, evidence of terrorism. In this situation, the officer points to no facts that could reasonably justify such a suspicion. Instead, he uses terrorism legislation as a threat to pressure the auditor into complying. Misusing serious legal powers in this way undermines public confidence and risks turning legislation intended for genuine security threats into a tool of intimidation.
I don't know that this guy's a police officer, 4737, and he doesn't know the law. Can you believe that? What do you think of that? The guy that doesn't know the law.
I don't have no comment on that.
He doesn't have a comment. Anyway, that's fine. Anyway, what's your name? Do you want to give me your name or anything?
Don't have to.
Yeah. You're out in public though now, aren't you? Are you SIA licensed?
Sorry?
Are you SIA licensed?
I am, yes.
Where's your SIA badge then? Because we've got two police over there, and you know it's illegal to not have your SIA badge on in public when you're dealing.
It's within a metre off site.
Within
a metre off site.
A metre off site. Oh, I think you're more than a metre off site. But anyway, I won't tell them anyway because I'm not against you.
Right, so basically all I've just been doing there is just to double check the legislation around the zooming in aspect of it. So you want to fly the drone, generically that's absolutely fine, but you disclosed to me that you'd been zooming in on the building, you'd taken images, zoomed in, that's what you said, effectively works to that effect.
What law is that against? What law?
Yeah. Let me finish,
okay.
And then you asked me if it were a canteen, so you have clearly been zooming in on
No, I haven't zoomed in through a window. I haven't zoomed in through a window.
It wouldn't have access to that, so that's where the sticky situation is. So I'm clarifying whether that's okay or not.
Well, I'll tell you now, I haven't zoomed in through a window, so yeah. I didn't say that. The camera won't lie.
Yeah,
I said, is that the canteen at that side?
Zoomed in images is what you said, I think.
The auditor calmly explains that he never zoomed in through any windows, looked into private areas, or published sensitive information. The only thing he mentioned was which side of the building the canteen was on, something that can often be seen from public viewpoints and is hardly confidential. Simply knowing the general location of a staff canteen does not create a security risk or amount to a criminal offense. What stands out most is the officer's approach. Instead of identifying a possible offense first, they appear to question the auditor in the hope of finding one later. That's the wrong way around. Police should have clear legal grounds before challenging someone, not search for a justification after the encounter has already begun. Lawful policing starts with evidence and reasonable suspicion, not with assumptions followed by an attempt to fit the facts to an offense.
Yeah, I did zoom in. I zoomed in on the building because I was getting as close I can as I look.
Which would suggest that you've zoomed in on the building there.
Well, yeah, that's
you know that if you hadn't.
Well, which side is the canteen at?
You tell me. You asked.
I don't know. I was just asking if that's
if
the
you hadn't
canteen.
zoomed in, so it's reasonable for me to think that that's what you've done.
Well, I haven't done. Well, I'm telling you that I haven't done.
Double check the legislation around that because that's a little bit of a sticky point.
Yeah. Well, that's not what I said, and that's not what I've done.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree on that.
All right. Well, tell you what I'll do. I'll just get on my bike and ride off then.
Well, you won't because until I
Yeah.
until I ascertain whether you've
Am I
committed an offence
detained?
or not, I'd like you to remain.
No, I'm going to get on my bike and go.
If you've
I'm going to
committed
pack
an
this.
offence,
I'm going to pack
and I
this drone up and I'm off.
suspect you've committed an offence, then I will keep you
No.
here.
You will keep me
I
here,
have
will you?
things on you that could harm us or could harm
Oh,
the police station.
yeah,
So
right.
if it comes back that you have committed an offence, then I may be searching you under Section 1 of PACE.
Yeah. Can you just stay back from me?
Yeah, of course.
What are you doing? Why are you walking so close? Look at this. It's just like, yeah, I know, but we're both intimidating. Two police officers walking right up to me.
The officer tells the auditor to stay where he is while they decide whether he has done something wrong. That's not how policing works. A person is either being lawfully detained under a specific legal power with clear grounds, or they are free to leave. There is no legal middle ground where officers can ask someone to wait while they search for a reason to justify their actions. The officer then suggests a possible search under Section 1 of PACE, but that power has strict legal requirements. It can only be used when an officer has reasonable grounds to suspect that a person is carrying stolen goods or prohibited items at that time. It cannot be based on speculation or on what might be discovered after speaking to someone or receiving information over the radio. A search cannot be justified by future suspicion. Police must have lawful grounds before exercising their powers, not create those grounds during the encounter. Applying pressure without a clear legal basis risks undermining public confidence and blurring the line between lawful policing and unnecessary interference.
Prevent me.
We're explaining to you what
Yeah,
process.
I am. Yeah, well, I'm going to go. I'm going to leave the scene now because am I detained?
You may well be being detained.
I may well be being detained.
Are you going to listen? You're asking me questions and then you're not letting me finish and answer you.
I'm going to nip off and come back for Forza later.
Would you like me to answer the question?
I'd like to answer the question whether I'm detained or not with a yes or no answer, and then
Listen.
Yeah.
Once we get back, if you've committed an offence or not, then you can be on your way.
that's not how it works.
Under UK law, if an officer is preventing someone from leaving, that person is being detained. When someone asks, "Am I being detained?" they deserve a clear and direct answer. Saying, "You may well be," is not an answer. It avoids the question and creates uncertainty. If an officer is exercising the powers of a detention, they should clearly state the legal basis for doing so. The officer then suggests that whether the auditor can leave depends on what comes back over the radio. That's not how lawful detention works. Police must have reasonable suspicion before detaining someone, not hope that a database check or radio response will provide grounds afterward. A lawful detention cannot be based on the possibility that evidence might appear later. If officers are waiting for information to decide whether they have legal grounds, that strongly suggests those grounds did not exist at the time the person's freedom of movement was restricted.
Let me finish, so.
Well, that's not how it works, is it? You can't just say wait around to see whether or not I've committed an offence. If you're going to detain me, you've got to detain me, and you've got to tell me which section of the law you're detaining me under.
I said if I were going to search you, it'd be Section 1 of PACE, yeah.
Section 1 of PACE. That'll be if you're going to search me, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, well, I'm off. So it's a search, is it? Section 1 of PACE. Let me have a look if you're going to do...
If someone's going to search you, it would
Yeah.
be Section 1 of PACE, yeah. But I'm waiting to hear back. If you want to go, that's fine, because I can't say whether you've committed an offence or not yet.
Yeah,
If you want to leave, that's absolutely fine. I'm just waiting to hear the legislation based on the information you've told. So if you want to go, by all means go.
This moment highlights the biggest problem with the officer's approach. Just minutes earlier, she suggested the auditor couldn't leave because they needed to determine whether he had committed an offence. Now, without any new evidence and without identifying any law that had been broken, she suddenly tells him he's free to go. At the same time, she admits they still haven't worked out what legislation, if any, actually applies. That's not how lawful policing should work. Officers need a legal basis before restricting someone's freedom, not afterward. They cannot imply that a person is being detained while they search for an offense that might justify it. If no offense has been identified and no lawful grounds exist, the person should be free to leave from the start. Using uncertainty to keep someone in place, even briefly, risks turning police powers into a tool of control rather than a lawful exercise of authority.
I think I'm going to have a little. Yeah, well, I'm going to have a quick look at Section 1 of PACE and see what powers you've got. Because you've got to have reasonable suspicion that I've committed an offence, haven't
Exactly,
you?
and I've just explained to you, and that's what I'm trying to establish.
Kyle,
So if you want to search it, that's fine, because I've explained it to you.
I'm going to do, yeah. I'm going to have a little look at Section 1 of PACE and see what your powers are. Because can I just say, will you be? I want to tell you something now, right? Yeah. Will you be really careful, because I really don't want to be getting involved in lawsuits with you. I really don't want to be suing you civilly for breaching my rights. Exactly, and I genuinely don't.
You can go if you want.
I know, but I genuinely don't. But if you search me under Section 1 of PACE, you guys are going to be in big trouble.
With you. I've explained it to you. If you want to leave, by all means you can leave. We're not holding you here.
Under Section 1 of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984, PACE, an officer can only carry out a stop and search if they have reasonable grounds to suspect that a person is carrying stolen goods, offensive weapons, or other prohibited items. Those grounds must be based on objective facts, not on assumptions, a lawful drone flight, or someone's refusal to provide identification. None of those, on their own, meet the legal threshold for a search. If an officer carries out a search without proper legal grounds, they risk acting unlawfully. That could expose both the officer and the police force to a civil claim for an unlawful stop and search. It may also raise issues under Article 8 of the Human Rights Act, which protects the right to respect for private life. This goes beyond poor policing. Police powers must always be exercised within the law, and officers can be held accountable when those powers are used without a lawful basis.
I've explained that to you.
Are you off now?
No, we're just going to have a sit in car and just wait to see if there's any offences, alright?
Okay then.
If you want to get off, you can, by all means, you can go.
I'm going to complete what I came here to do. There we go, look. And they're off. So all this terrorism malarkey. There you go. See ya.
And just like that, the officers leave. No arrest, no caution, no search, and no further action because there was never a lawful reason to intervene in the first place. This encounter is a clear example of poor policing. The officers approached without identifying a specific offense, relied on vague suggestions of legal powers, and then quietly withdrew once it became clear they couldn't justify their actions. From beginning to end, the interaction was filled with confusion, contradictions, and uncertainty about the law. One officer even suggested that using a drone zoom camera was somehow comparable to unlawfully entering a police station, a claim with no basis in trespass or privacy law. They attempted to identify the auditor without explaining what offense he was suspected of. They referred to legal powers that didn't fit the situation, hinted at a search without clear grounds, and repeatedly avoided giving a direct answer when asked whether he was being detained. Most revealing of all, they admitted during the encounter that they were still trying to work out which legislation, if any, applied. That raises obvious questions about whether they had a legal basis for their actions when the encounter began. Instead of being guided by clear legal grounds, the officers appeared to react first and look for justification later. The auditor remained calm, understood his rights, and challenged each point with confidence. In the end, the officers left without taking any action because they could not identify an offense or justify using their powers. No explanation was given, no apology was offered, and the encounter simply ended. It serves as a reminder that police powers must always be exercised within the law and supported by clear legal grounds, not assumptions or uncertainty. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps support the channel and allows me to continue producing independent content. Also, be sure to check out Northern Audit. His channel is linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.